Thank you. All right, so we're kicking off this session, right? Here we go. I only have 6 minutes, so I want to get us kind of started, and I'm going to need some help because I can't see very far. So by show of hands, how many people in here are architects? Okay, excellent. Not very many of you. How many people in here work for the city of Dallas? Okay, awesome. How many people in here work for law enforcement? Awesome, we can proceed. Okay. This is kind of a strange word. It's pronounced Cacoethes. And it actually, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, it stands for an irresistible impulse to do something inadvisable. A lot of you may be saying to yourself, Cacoethes, that sounds a lot like my life. But I'm not Dr. Sturm, so we're not going to be talking about that today. Instead, what I'd like to talk about is something called public interest design. And how many of you have ever heard of public interest design? Okay, awesome. So a couple of you, great. For those of you who haven't, I would encourage you to look it up. It's a pretty interesting movement in architecture right now. But to sum it up, I would just say that basically, I feel like design solutions which build off of the expertise and priorities of those most affected by the solution are the most profound. Pretty simple. It's really listening and making. I listen to someone named Ms. Anna Hill, who happens to be with us tonight. Ms. Hill, where are you? Okay, don't be shy. All right. I also call her boss and sometimes mom. Ms. Hill hails from a really interesting neighborhood called Dolphin Heights. How many of you know where Dolphin Heights is? Awesome. Oh, cool, very cool. So Dolphin Heights, you are here in the Arts District. And Dolphin Heights is to the east of us, that way, but that way on the map. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Dolphin Heights, as you can see, is just south of I-30. It's kind of close to White Rock, kind of close to Fair Park. And something quick about Ms. Hill, I could talk about Ms. Hill all night, actually. But she used to work at Baylor Hospital, and though she doesn't necessarily work for the medical field now, because she's retired, you could argue that she's been nursing her neighborhood back to health for like the last decade. She's really awesome, and I'm going to try to touch on a few points as we go. But one of the things Ms. Hill did is for the last 5 years, she and I and a number of partners and organizations have been working in Dolphin Heights, which is what you see. And Dolphin Heights is similar to a lot of Dallas neighborhoods in that it has some assets. It also has some challenges, not the least of which is a 4-lane road that cuts the entire neighborhood in two and has no safe way to cross it. But what it doesn't have is something that a lot of Dallas neighborhoods do have, which is a neighborhood plan. But thanks to the Texas Real Estate Council, thank you, Trek, who provided a really great grant, we've been able to get a neighborhood plan for Dolphin Heights. And the way we did that was we started by listening. And in order to listen, we had to get the neighborhood together. So we sent out, over the last year, we had about 8 meetings. We sent out flyers and postcards, and we invited people to come in, tell us what they thought their neighborhood should look like and what we should do. An interesting fact, again about Ms. Hill, is that we had a lot of these workshops and a lot of these design sessions in a place called the Belay House, which before Ms. Hill had something to say about it was actually a crack house, like literally crack was sold there. And now it is a place where people come together to talk about the future of a neighborhood and where she has a budding after-school program with 22 kids in it. So give it up for Ms. Hill. So we talked about how big a road should be, and we talked about where the after-school should be. We talked about a lot of different things. We ultimately got the goals of the neighborhood down to 4: diversity, growth, connectivity, and safety. They don't all mean what you'd think they'd mean, but we gave them the definitions for Dolphin Heights. And we came up with a really great design, and before we gave it over to the city of Dallas, we said, let's just check to make sure we were listening correctly. But it was August, and it was really hot, and we didn't really know if anybody would come out, and so we said, well, what if we design this too? What if we say that for every person that comes out and looks at the plan and gives us an idea, we'll give them a popsicle? Turns out that works really well in Texas. People like popsicles, especially ones with ice cream in them. Just tip. People came out, they told us what they liked, and we found out that they really liked the plan and supported it. And so that's really good, right? So we're putting together this book, and we're going to give it to the city of Dallas, and it's talking about all the different things that we want to see happen. And so what's great is that someday, where there's currently semis going down residential streets, there will be an art center. And where there are dead-end roads and power towers, there will be a hike and bike trail that connects over to the Dallas trail system. And frankly, in a neighborhood where a lot of the streets don't even have sidewalks, that's kind of a big deal. And I bet, if we took a poll, I bet there are people in this room right now that could help Miss Hill make those dreams into reality. You think that's probably true? Yeah. Awesome. Miss Hill, you should be expecting their call, right? Well, one thing Miss Hill didn't like about the plan is that it said 10 to 20 years. And I know that with the help of the partners in this room, this will go much faster than 10 to 20 years. But Miss Hill said, Andy, what can we do now? And I said, that's a great question, Miss Hill. Let's figure that out. So we looked at one of the most pressing problems in Dolphin Heights. And ever since I had set foot in Dolphin Heights 5 years ago, Miss Hill told us that Dolphin Road cuts Dolphin Heights in two, and that it's a real problem because there's a lot of things that keep the neighborhood apart and keep it from being a neighborhood. For example, this is where all the kids in the neighborhood are located, for the most part. But this is where the playground is, and this is where the new bus stop is for them to all get to school. And it's a 4-lane road where people, I guess the speed limit's 35. How fast do they drive, Miss Hill? Yeah. So it's not very safe. So we said, okay, that should be a really easy fix, right? We just need a crosswalk. We can just put one in, it won't be a problem, as soon as this catches up with me. But we would be wrong, because Miss Hill's been trying to get a crosswalk there for a long time. And because this road was funded by this money, and it connects to this road and that road, you can't exactly get a crosswalk there. So we said, what if we were to do something inadvisable? For example, what if we were to call up Dallas Light and Barricade and get a giant sign made that said Dolphin Crossing? And what if we were to take that out and your friends, Joe Bodette and Jennifer Mayfield, were to put on vests and hard hats and make a crosswalk in the middle of the night? That's not a bad idea, right? And then in the morning, you can pretend like it was there all along. So if there's anything to remember here, it's this. Sometimes you don't have to wait for permission. You can do something on your own, even if people advise against it, and you can make a difference, no matter how small. And the rest, as they say, is history. Thank you.